G'day, I'm Shane Adam Bassett, Sky News, Australia.
Hi, Shane.
Hello, mate. Michael Marino, you worked on one of my favorite movies of all time, Black Swan. Well done.
Thank you so much.
How did you get into prosthetics and makeup and your career before I ask you about the Penguin? Because it's a significant industry, but it's not easy to sort of just fall into, I assume. Was it something you were destined to do, or was it always going to be a creative thing for your path?
Oh, yeah, I knew right away when I was really young that I wanted to do this. I was lucky by the grace of, God, that, this was something that I really didn't fall into. It was made for me because when I was a really young kid, actually I have HBO to thank because
Okay.
they kept playing the Elephant Man movie over and over again in the 80s. They kept
Yeah.
playing that movie every day or two or something, and it was always on, and it was always on during the day. So when I was a little kid, I saw the Elephant Man when I think I was like 5 years old. And what that film did, David Lynch's film was such an amazing film, so artistic and passionate and a beautiful
Oh,
film
yeah. Yeah.
that really that film really changed my life. It disturbed me as a child because I didn't know it was fake, even though it is based on reality. I was so scared of it. The way it was
Yeah.
shot, it was black and white. Different than a cartoons I was watching at the time, so it was so different, to the point to where it back in the day you'd get the TV guide and they would tell you what movies playing that month, and even when I was really small I would find out if the Elephant Man was playing, and then I would scratch it out in the TV guide, and I would be like, okay, no, this can't exist. I gotta, if it's on, I'm changing the channel. I'm gonna go play or something. I can't deal with it. A couple years go by, Michael Jackson's Thriller and MTV came out where they showed Rick Baker doing the makeup on Michael Jackson as a werewolf and a zombie. And I was like, what is this? This is the coolest thing I've
Okay.
ever seen. So that really inspired me at that point to find out who Rick Baker was, and to find out, Rick Baker had done the Nutty Professor makeups and Coming to America and all the makeups on Eddie Murphy and American Werewolf in London. And he won an
Yeah.
Oscar for that. And I really found out who he was. I found out who Dick Smith was. He was his mentor was Dick Smith, who did The Exorcist and The Godfather and Amadeus and The Hunger, Little Big Man with Dustin Hoffman, all these
Yeah.
amazing prosthetic transformations. So I became obsessed at that point. And also HBO had played Tales from the Crypt, which was constantly on in in the 80s and early 90s, which Kevin Yeager had done and designed the Crypt Keeper and all that. So I just became obsessed with the whole world of makeup effects. And I started teaching myself how to do it. I went to the library and had the internet then. And I went to the library, went books on makeup. Dick Smith had done a book about teaching you how to do makeup. So I did all those makeups in the book, and I did all as much experimenting as I could. And being a comic book fan and being a Batman fan, all it kind of came together,
Yeah.
formed who I am as an artist now.
Yeah. Well, we didn't in Australia back in the day. We didn't really have HBO, but I did see the Elephant Man, but not at 5. I would have been a teenager. Wow. I hope you got to meet John Hurt because his performance.
I never did. I wish I would have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've kind of worked in with a Batman previously before the Batman with Michael Keaton in Birdman. So maybe this progression was always going to happen, right?
I guess so. I guess so. And Michael Keaton was a great guy. We had fun doing that. I did all these designs for these weird noses and things like that. And then we ultimately, Alejandro, they all wanted him to try to look like Javier Bardem, so
Oh,
it's like, oh, let's do something totally different now. And it was just really funny and fun to work with him.
well, how did you first meet Matt Reeves, and were you handpicked to sort of go from the Batman to this series? Is it something that you've been a fan of as well, this world of DC?
Well, the department head of Batman in England was Naomi Dunn, who is a very well-known makeup artist, a great friend of mine, like family,
Yeah.
very amazing person, and she knew that this was going to be something that had to be unique for Colin Farrell, and said, "I think Mike Marino is the right person to do the job." And I already had worked with Colin Farrell in the past, about a decade earlier, and we always liked
Okay.
each other, and it was always like a cool relationship. So I think when I was involved in the project via recommendation, I met Matt, and me and Matt just really hit it off, and we were just artists and fans of movies, and I just really love Matt Reeves. So I think that we had a really open relationship from the very start, and we talked on the phone a lot, and we
Yeah.
exchanged ideas and all of those things. And I think it was just like a destined thing.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that comes out of Colin Farrell's performance is his makeup. It gets brought up every time you read a review or you hear someone talking about the film. And trust me, having seen the first 4 episodes of the series, they're going to mention the prosthetics, and the work is incredible. So was it a long process? I'm assuming it was, and I'm sorry if you've been asked that before.
No, it's okay. I mean, so we established the whole makeup for Matt's film that Greg Fraser
Mm,
had shot. So that was the first introduction to what Colin would look like. And I think the
mm,
series that Lauren LaFranc and Matt wrote, uh, um, it's stemming off of the film, so it's linked to the film.
yeah,
So it has to be the progression of where we started. So the film was the original creation of Oz and who he was and what he was, but we didn't see enough of him. So Lauren had and her team wrote a whole in-depth version of who Oz is and what his life is like, his aspirations and his weaknesses, and a whole
yeah,
psychological dive into who he is. So we're glad to be a part of it. It's an amazing job to be a part of, and so we started from the film, and we made technical changes, and we made a few adjustments. And like any human being, every person is always evolving in the size
yeah.
and shape and color and what they're dealing with during that time. So we are always constantly evolving how he's looking through the whole time.
Mm. Did he stay in character for you? I know on set, Colin was in character as Oz all the time. When did he switch? Like, was it at the start of the day or just progressively as you worked on him?
I think Colin really secretly is Oz for real. um, but no, I don't think his take on it is so intensely method acting,
Mm,
where you're just constantly that person. But I think once you're Dick Smith had coined this, the Dr. Frankenstein syndrome. You know, once you start doing a makeup on someone, and you're gluing a cheek on, and you're gluing a
mm,
chin, and you're gluing a nose, and all of a sudden, once you start coloring it and gluing on hair pieces and stuff, it just becomes this living person, this
mm,
new creation, the Frankenstein's monster. You know, you're creating this new person. And as soon as like the hairpiece and the eyebrows go on, he starts looking in the mirror and squinting and making voices and starts talking like this a bit. And it's all in fun, and it's all in it's nothing serious where, you know, you cannot call him Colin and you have to call him us. But I just think he becomes this character through fun and excitement. And it does happen. It's towards the end of the makeup.
yeah. What's the biggest challenge? Like once he's up and the cameras are about to roll, are you on set making sure nothing falls off, or you've got touch-up material? Like, are
Oh yeah.
you you're under pressure that way because of the heat of the lights, maybe?
Oh yeah, there's so many aspects to it, and I have a big team of people assigned to Oz in particular, just to maintain him on set,
Yeah,
and to make sure he doesn't fall apart if he's sweating or if something happens, you know. So we have
yeah,
Crystal and Stella and Mike and Bobby and my whole team and Lisa and all the people associated with keeping Oz alive, you know. So. It's a whole team, and on
yeah.
set, there's certain people, are watching him, all day. And if there's something going on, and if I'm not present, they're sending me pictures, and we're looking at things. Oh, fix this and add this and adjust this. So we're really all communicating with each other throughout the day. And at the end of the day, Val and Crystal and Stella, they're removing the makeup, cleaning the wigs, and Bobby is cleaning the wigs, and we're all a team fixing and adjusting and doing all the things for Oz that are needed. Because when everyone goes home, we're still in the makeup trailer taking Oz off, and Colin comes back to life.
What's something that you don't ever not have on you? Is there a piece of equipment or something that you must have with you all times just in case?
I always love to have, we always have like a set bag where to have certain
Yeah.
glues and certain brushes. An airbrush is very essential because all of the skin is painted with an airbrush, freckles and spots and veins and little capillaries and all of those details completely. So an
Yeah.
airbrush is like really for me the ultimate thing you always want to have.
Working on like Joker and the Batman and Penguin, you're in a universe that's it's shifting. How do you find, where do you see DC going when it comes to storytelling and makeup and design?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I just hope it's got enough truth and
Mm,
reality and not copies but homages the comic books enough because
mm,
that's the source. That is the source of the Batman world, and that is the source of every character. And there's so many artists in that world, and Neil Adams and Bob Kane and Jim Lee and all the
mm.
people over the past in the comic book world that have set up moods and set up all the things that the movies are stemming off of. You can't they in the movies can't quite erase the past of comic book history. So it's about honoring those things and seeing where this goes. I think that there's a lot of potential. I think there's a lot of possibilities for characters and creatures and all this awesome
Yeah.
stuff that is the beginning. We're still in the beginning of this universe. So I think there's so many cool things that can be done, taken with care,
Yeah.
isolating it separately from other comic book characters and films. I think it's a unique world that can be explored in a unique way.
And finally, to wrap it up, like how close do you work with, say, the wardrobe department? Because movies like The Fanatic, and just I suppose even with Colin, his suit and his clothes and your makeup, do you work with them in tandem and so
Oh
forth?
yeah. Oh yeah, sure. So Colin is wearing a big suit. It changes his whole body shape and body
Yeah,
form.
yeah.
So we gave the wardrobe department, Helen, who's in charge of the costume. We gave them a full body of Colin and the suit to measure all the things. And I'm sure they were stressing out a lot because it took us so long to build all that stuff. And by the time we built it all, they were like, "Oh my God, we need to sew everything to fit and everything." So much credit to them. But it's a huge effort. It's time consuming. It's not a film. You don't have as much time as a film. It's a TV schedule, so it's harder. So it was very stressful for the costume department. It was stressful for us to try to make all the adjustments we had to make because there are things that happen where Colin might be like, yeah, I think my shoulders should be a little bit bigger, and then all of a sudden everything is thrown off.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think this should be this way, and I'm feeling this should be changed a little, and this thing should be changed a little. So it's always, a
Yeah,
war, a war. You're trying to adapt to something you want to. The
yeah.
goal is here, but you're getting hit with all these other things that you're not anticipating. So it's a real collaborative effort of artists coming together and doing this, bringing this character to life.
Well, it's good to hear that you're open to actors' suggestions. I know you're close to Colin, but you are open to suggestions and you're happy to adapt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we all respect each other, and I think that's the
Mm.
important thing. There's no hierarchy of like you do what I say and all of that. That never works. That never works. It's all
Well,
about just trusting and hiring the right people and collaborating in a very specific way. That makes the best art.
thanks, Michael. Great talking to you, mate. I hope you get down under sometime. Have you been to Australia?
I would love to. Only New Zealand. I haven't gone there yet, but I would love to go.
And thank you for Black Swan, mate. I'll never forget seeing that, and it's up there in my top 10 movies. I absolutely love the work you did on that.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Take care. Nice to meet you.